Alright, so this is going to be a reading for Capricorn. And for the Capricorn that I'm reading for today, I'm seeing that your higher self is trying to reach you with the High Priestess as your overall energy for the reading. And when I clarified what your higher self is trying to show you, what your spirit guides are trying to convey to you, they're asking you to hold on tight through some type of effort or some type of journey that's been feeling somewhat difficult, and you may have your doubts about it. Even though you're holding on and you're moving forward through whatever this is, I see that you're kind of doubting yourself and you're wondering, am I really on the right path? Am I really moving in the right direction? And Spirit's saying yes. And you're going to see soon, there's going to be signs that you are moving in the right direction, that you are on the right path, if you're not aware of that right now. Now I'm going to dive into the tarot in a moment, but before I do, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for receiving this reading. If you would like a personal reading, I do offer personal readings, and you can email me down below in the description box for one. Also, if you'd like to lend your energy to the channel so that I can manifest messages that resonate more with you, you can like and subscribe. But let's see what you have going on here, Capricorn. Your oracle cards for today are past lives, mind, and laziness. So there is something kind of going on here with your past lives where whatever it is that you're working on here is something that possibly you worked on in past lives or is connected to events or connections that you had in your past lives. And with mind and laziness here, I think that's really about creating a sense of self-discipline. And I think the laziness card should not be construed as actually gesturing to you being lazy, but really it talks about the effort that it takes to have control over our mind. And that's also coming up here in the overall energy where we see that you're kind of working on having strength over your mind. And so if your mind is telling you negative things or is telling you that you're not succeeding or you're not on the right path, it's actually because you could need to move on from those types of messaging that you're giving yourself and lean into this idea that you actually have control over your thoughts, and you can develop over time an almost like strength training sort of regimen for how you use your mind, because the mind holds incredible power, right? It holds incredible power over our lives, and it also holds incredible power over us and how we feel about ourselves. And if we feel out of control of our thoughts or how we're thinking about things, we're going to feel out of control of what's going on in our lives. And that's actually not true. You do have control over your mind. You can shift your thoughts. And Spirit's asking you to kind of take the reins of your own mind here. And if it feels lately like you're feeling really scattered or you feel a little bit out of control of the way that you're thinking, Spirit's saying, no, you do have control. And it's important that you work on the thoughts that you carry. And yesterday, I'm just thinking about how my roommate said that she was reading an old notebook and she found a spell. And I was happy for her and I was interested in what she had to say. But it also just reminded me that spells don't have to be anything special. Like, they don't have to be like something you wrote down in a journal that was passed down from your family and then you find it again or something like that. Spells can just be anything that we speak into existence. And furthermore, any thought that we have can actually be a spell, because each thought and each word carries an energy, carries a vibration that when we speak it into existence, we're really speaking or thinking whatever that thought is into our reality, and we're manifesting whatever that thought is. And so you may not even realize it, but you may be manifesting energies that are kind of unhealthy for you or that are confusing for you. And it's important that you think of your thoughts as sacred and think of your words as sort of spells, and that you're very intentional about the energy that you are kind of bringing into the world. Now, in the recent past, I see you kind of healing the way that you think about things, possibly when it comes to your consciousness and like the decisions that you're making. There could be a part of you that really rejects yourself or was rejected by other people, and you really hold on to that messaging, or you really hold on to these ideas that were given to you. And this could go back as far as into your childhood messaging that you got from your parents or from teachers or just from people around you when you were younger that you really internalized that led you to kind of reject yourself. And over time, possibly without even realizing it, it just came to be a part of yourself that you held on to, these rejecting kind of thoughts and messages. And now it could kind of be how you speak to yourself. And it's something that you kind of built yourself over time, and that impacted your ability to feel happy or to feel confident. Because if you're speaking in this negative way to yourself, over time it's going to feel kind of difficult to access positivity because your norm is just going to be some type of negativity. I'm seeing that at some point you kind of recognized this and wanted to kind of shift the energy and move into this energy of self-love. You're showing me, you know what, I need to locate the parts of my life that are putting me down or encouraging me to put myself down, and I need to shift that energy into self-love. And it's kind of like you make this conscious effort to give yourself a level of love that maybe you haven't experienced before. And as soon as you do that, it's almost like you upgrade your own energy. And I see you kind of on this journey of learning how to love yourself. What does it mean for me to be loved, to be cared for, and starting to reject anything that doesn't care for you the way that you need to be cared for, especially if there are people in your family or relationships that you have around you where other people are speaking negatively about you or bringing you this negative energy. You're kind of saying, you know what, I can't deal with that anymore. I can't have that around me. I need more positivity. So there could be some kind of family structure or just something in your life that you kind of depend on for stability that brings you a lot of happiness, something that feels like, you know, very established in your life, and it kind of provides everything you need for you on the material and possibly emotional levels. That either is coming down or came down. And either you, for some of you, you may not be aware that it's coming down. For others of you, you are aware that it's coming down and it's affecting you pretty deeply on the emotional level. There could be this feeling of internal conflict within you, this struggle of, you know, why is this happening? What's the meaning of this? What's the deeper spiritual purpose? Because it's something that ultimately looks like it's kind of leaving your life or it's transforming into something else. And on the surface, it could seem really good. It could be something that's really validated by society or by the world around you. Maybe this is something that brings you wealth or, you know, brings you a certain level of comfort every day. But it's coming down, and the structures of it seem to be built on unstable ground. And so now that structure is coming down as a result. And there is a spiritual purpose in this. There's some type of lesson that your spirit guides are asking you to be open to learning. And if you're focusing on like how awful this is, or you're not open to just letting this experience happen, it may be hard for you to learn from this. I see you kind of being like, again, like, why does this need to happen? This doesn't really make sense. This could also trigger, you know, something with your inner child, maybe that feeling of rejection that you got as a young person, where now you've kind of built up this life, this happiness for yourself. You're saying, okay, I'm going to move in a new direction, and you built up something else for yourself, and now that's coming down, and now you're like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? You know, and it comes through as a really painful ending. It comes through as possibly something that feels like a bit of a betrayal. Like, I worked so hard on establishing this, like, what am I supposed to do now? And again, Spirit's saying that there's a lesson in this about your own strength and what you're capable of. And I'm also seeing that you're going to be happier once you're able to move forward from this. There's something about your spiritual path that's coming out very strongly here. And especially in terms of your past lives and the journey that your soul is on, you know, often we think like, my soul or who I am throughout my past lives is the same, and I'm just continuing the energy from the past lives. And that's true to a certain extent, but our personalities change from life to life. Like, we are different people from life to life. It's really our soul that maintains this kind of core energy, and our soul gets put through these different personalities in different lifetimes in order to learn different lessons. And so you're actually meant to go through whatever you're going through right now with this structure coming down, because it's has something to do with your past lives and what you're meant to learn karmically in this lifetime in order for your soul to evolve. And so if you're thinking like this isn't correct, or this isn't supposed to happen this way, etc., etc., this actually could be something that you decided to participate in before you were born so that you could learn a certain lesson. And it's important that you don't cut your feelings off from this experience and you don't doubt what's happening, because this is meant to happen for you to grow and for you to evolve. And the more you're able to lean into this experience and see the positives in it and move forward from it, the quicker you're going to be able to move on to the next phase of your life, and the more you're going to learn about yourself and your path and whatever it is that you're meant to learn in this experience. And so I see you kind of needing to heal the disappointment over this, the feeling of, this sucks like so much. But then after you heal that, I see you kind of being freed from it and moving forward towards a much more positive energy, because you've actually worked through whatever this has brought up, and it's kind of empowering, and it allows you to move forward free of whatever karmic energy this is carrying around. This definitely has strong karmic energy, which basically means there are lessons that you are learning, right? And so far, you're still in the midst of learning those lessons. You're still going to learn those lessons. But then once you've learned the lessons, you're going to kind of be able to clear that energy from your soul's path and open up to something entirely new. And it's not going to feel as shitty as it feels right now. For a while, it may feel like the pain and the stress is kind of all encompassing. It kind of overrides anything else going on in your life. It could feel like, when is this going to be over? Like, all I ever feel is upset. And that's the part of your mind that you're going to have to kind of discipline, is understanding that you can feel a feeling, but then you have to kind of let it pass. And the only person who can hold you through that experience, really, on that deeper personal internal level, is you. And so Spirit's asking you to kind of be the bigger person, but be the bigger person over yourself. They're saying it's kind of you versus you, and you have the power to move through this and to kind of override the painful thoughts, because they're showing that on a sort of human level you're upset about this because this is what you've known in this lifetime. But if you were to kind of zoom out and look at all of your lives one after the other, and the karmic patterns that move through them and the lessons that you're meant to learn, you would see not just the reason for this, but you would see like the ebb and flow of the energy and the way that you're meant to move through that energy in a way that would feel less scary and more exciting, more like, oh great, I have another lesson to learn. The other thing about karma, I think it was Dolores Cannon who wrote in one of her books that the true meaning of karma is just love. And so, like, the energy of the universe at its core is love. And so part of this lesson is about learning to love yourself. That's part of your karmic lesson, and moving through these energies of why you haven't loved yourself, or working on sort of the blockages in loving yourself. And so whatever this is that you're going through, whatever is coming down, either it's something that isn't loving yourself or isn't allowing you to love yourself, and it had to come down in order for you to step into that energy, or it's something that just by this coming down and by this happening, you're learning how to care for yourself and love yourself on a whole other level. And for people who have depended on other people loving them, or that's been the structure of their life, this is going to feel really heartbreaking and really terrifying, because you're going to feel like that love is leaving your life. But it's actually not leaving your life. It's just transforming into a new energy that is going to come from you, and it exists more for you than it does for anyone else. And I think once you move through this, once you kind of realize the lesson and learn the lesson and feel through that lesson, you're going to heal from the pain of this because you're going to have fully moved through it. And then you're going to be on like a whole new beginning. And it's almost, I'm seeing someone who maybe like uses glasses and suddenly their eyesight is like fixed magically or something. And it's like you see the world in a whole new way and you have a new perspective and you also feel a lot better, and suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, everything is so clear. And I see you feeling that clarity and trusting a lot more in what's going on in your life, ready to step into the next moment because you've moved on from the sort of karmic energies that have been pulling you down from your past. But until you work with those energies, until you kind of let the tower fall, let it all fall down, you're not going to be able to move forward because there's something about your past lives and what you're meant to resolve in this life that still needs to be resolved. And I see you kind of opening up to the idea that the hardship that you're enduring, like, it's all going to make sense. And once it makes sense, you're going to be like, oh, I can actually handle anything. Like, I can move towards anything. And I see you really opening up to the lesson itself, and then also opening up to the energies in the world more because this isn't holding you down as much. So very positive spiritual reading, Capricorn, and you definitely have your work kind of cut out for you. But I really like this for you. It's not often that I get readings where we talk directly about past lives and karma. So this is very interesting. And I'm just going to get 3 cards of advice from the universe for you before we close out the reading. The advice is to let go of control and also to let go of anything that isn't working. Take the path of least resistance. Let the tower fall. If something isn't working, expect that it's not meant to work out and focus your energies on something else. That's what I have for you, Capricorn. I hope this helps. I hope it resonates, and I'll see you next time.